Los Angeles is home to tens of thousands of gang members, with estimates as high as 150,000. In the 1970s, police departments in the city formed specific units assigned to combat the rising gang problem. This led to one of the most corrupt branches of law enforcement in United States history. This is the story of the L.A.P.D's crash unit. Los Angeles is the gang capital of the United States. Turf wars became an increasing problem during the late 1960s. By 1973, hundreds of street gangs had spread throughout the city. The L.A.P.D's 77th Division formed the first unit dedicated to dismantling them, but from its conception, the unit would be met with controversy. Firstly, because of the unit's name, which was Total Resources Against Street Hoodlums, otherwise known as TRASH. People immediately criticized the name, stating it demonized gang members. TRASH would also operate in plain street clothing, wearing no police uniforms. The name was changed to Crash, and the unit was reconstructed as a gang task force, with it being introduced into all 18 police divisions within Los Angeles. Crash units aggressively patrolled neighborhoods within South Central and faced accusations of racially profiling people. Black and Hispanic youths were regularly targeted in searches, which in many cases led to false arrests. The L.A.P.D. would continue to increase their presence in the streets as the violence became worse by the day. Between 1970 and 1979, there were nearly 5,000 homicides in the city, and it would only continue to escalate. In 1980, Los Angeles became America's deadliest city, with over 1,000 homicides that year. To quell the violence, the L.A.P.D's crash unit carried out hundreds of arrests daily and weren't shy about using force. Police brutality during this era was at an all-time high. Law enforcement used the chokehold, which was frequently used to subdue people. This led to 15 people perishing from the restraint, as it was known to cut off blood flow to the brain. Between 1975 and 1982, there were 975 recorded cases of the L.A.P.D. using the chokehold. The rest of the decade was marked by an unprecedented level of violence as street gangs battled over control of the narcotics trade. This led to crash units launching Operation Hammer, which would be a series of raids carried across the city to round up suspected gang members. The L.A.P.D. was met with further backlash from the public as thousands of people were arrested during the operation with little to no evidence. In 1988, 1,453 people were arrested in one weekend, majority of whom never faced a conviction and were considered to be detained under false pretenses. In 1991, tensions with the police would skyrocket as footage was released of 4 L.A.P.D. officers beating an unarmed black man due to a traffic violation. The victim's name was Rodney King, and this situation shocked the American public as it gained mass media attention. In 1992, the Rodney King trial seen the 4 officers face charges due to the incident. They were acquitted, and the city erupted into chaos as a result of the decision. The Los Angeles riot lasted for 6 days. Thousands of people were injured, with 53 people perishing. This forever altered the public's perception of the L.A.P.D. Almost every community in South Central viewed the police as having no regard for human life, and were seen as nothing more than just another street gang. But this comparison would become a complete reality with the crash unit within the Rampart Division. These officers were involved in every crime under the sun. Extortion and armed robbery would become mere child's play to them. They tampered with ongoing cases, covered up unlawful shootings, and even carried out hits and retaliations against gang members under their influence. Officers like Rafael Perez flooded the street with narcotics, which he acquired from the evidence locker. His connection to the 18th Street Gang helped him solidify his presence in the street. In 1996, Perez was involved in the shooting of 18th Street member Javier Ovando, which left him paralyzed. With the help of other officers, Perez planted a weapon on the crime scene and falsified records to have Javier Ovando sentenced to 23 years in prison. Rafael Perez was also allegedly a member of the Bloods and was hired as security for Suge Knight's Death Row label. Multiple other Rampart crash officers were connected to the Death Row label, and some believe were involved in the passing of Biggie Smalls. In 1997, Officer David Mack participated in a bank robbery where he stole more than $700,000. His girlfriend, who worked at the bank, implicated David Mack in the crime, and he was sentenced to 14 years in prison. After this arrest, the Rampart Division created a task force to investigate the crash unit. In 1998, Rafael Perez was caught reselling more than $800,000 of narcotics on the street. He was caught dead to rights. His handwriting was discovered in documents connected to the missing evidence. Perez would cut a deal where he implicated 70 other officers in numerous crimes of police misconduct, majority of whom never faced convictions and were only forced to step down as police officers. In 2000, the crash unit was officially disbanded due to the Rampart scandal. Rafael Perez was given 5 years in prison for tampering with evidence. He was released in 2001, but stood trial again for his involvement in the Javier Ovando case. He was sentenced to another 2 years and was officially released in 2004. Well guys, I know it was a shorter one, but I still hope you enjoyed today's story. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, as it's always greatly appreciated. If you have any suggestions, don't forget to leave them down below. And with all that being said, I'll catch you guys in the comments.